Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. My name is Nick, and today, guys, we're going to be jumping down into the charts for Cardano's ADA, taking a look at what has been going on most recently and what I would expect to happen next. As I get into this video, if you find it useful and informative, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. And if you haven't yet joined us in Discord, link is in the description down below. It's a fantastic community talking crypto 24/7. It's completely free, and I don't think you'll be disappointed by what you find down there. So why not go ahead and check that out today? And we've actually just launched a new podcast as well. So if you're not familiar, link in the description down below. Check it out. It's a great, easy way to listen to the latest crypto news and a little bit of banter whilst you're driving into the office. So why not check that out? Okay, guys, let's waste no more time though. Cardano paired up with USDT on the hourly chart, and Binance is the data source. And what we're going to do is we're going to just take a look at some of these recent moves, right? So we are tracking this three-wave structure to the downside. We've got this estimated at about 39.3. Now that's just an estimate based on a 1-to-1 ratio with our W and our Y waves here, or our A and our B, depending on which way you want to look at it. Now, we have got this interesting move to the upside. It's worth noting. We've actually got a series of little kind of mini pumps and corrections, right, as the market was a bit differing, doesn't really know which way things were likely to go. Now we've got this kind of topped out at about 51.16 at the moment. It is possible, of course, that we go up a little bit higher, and I'm going to go through what that might look like. That would actually invalidate this 39.3 as well. So if I just get rid of that for a sec. If I come over here for a second, you can see that the stochastic RSI, it is in the overbought area on this hourly chart. So this is indicating that we are likely to find some kind of room to the downside. And if I zoom in on this, you can kind of see the resistance that we're hitting right here. Okay, and this is an area that we've been reviewing previously as well. So you can see there's a lot of exhausted buying activity right in this little sweet spot here. So chances are that we are likely to get a reversal of some kind of short-term move to the downside. Okay. Now, on the 4-hourly chart, however, we are progressing the stochastic RSI up. This could indicate that we have a little bit more room to grow before we actually do see that pull back down in any large way, right? So we should keep that in our mind. And the same with the 8-hour and, of course, those dailies, right? They're important that we keep a good eye on those macro views. But essentially, on this hourly chart, what we've got here is this potential move down. But we could also look at this as a slight move higher. And we have got this out at 51.16. Now, if we were to come up higher than that, let me just check to make sure that's definitely the high that I'm looking at here. It's actually 51.14. Okay, so I'll just lower this down by 2 points. There we go. So basically that area there, that's going to be marking our X wave high. So in theory, if we were to move up any higher, we probably don't want to cross 51.14 unless we are wanting, some kind of serious surge to the upside to occur, which I don't think is the case. I would actually expect more room to the downside. So the other thing that we've got to consider here is that we have got this low point just down here, and we are progressing up. So it's possible that we pull back down and we continue to lower. And if that is the case, then, we can take this existing low, we can take this existing high, we can take the fib tool here, just move it over. And then, of course, this is indicating about 42. But if we do end up with a 5-wave structure to the downside, then, we should be considering whether or not we are going to drop down significantly lower within this particular structure. I don't think that's necessarily the case. I wouldn't expect it to kind of have a 5-wave structure here. I'm just expecting a 3-wave move. So yeah, 39.31, possibly finding support around these areas as well, which would coincidentally actually align quite nicely to our 618 fib and our 786. If we actually shoot on over here, I think the 618 is actually in a pretty good spot to find some good support levels. So we could find something there as well on a short-term move. Now, as I kind of zoom out on this hourly chart and just bring this back down, let me just remove the stock there. You can, of course, see that we still have that one bullish sentiment, right? And this one bullish move that is indicating 72 cents. Now, this is still valid unless, of course, we pull down into these lows. If we pull down into these lows lower than 40.19, which essentially is this low over this side, then essentially, yeah, that basically means that we aren't having that high. That's no longer valid, and all we are doing is dropping down. At least there'll be a different structure. But this is the only one bullish play that I have for Cardano at the moment, which is basically just this little three-wave structure, which is a correction to the upside. Equally, could have completed just up here, and this would have been back in 31st of May, with that high coming in at about 60.9, I think it is. Yeah, 60.9 cent. Okay, 60.9. So yeah, that's kind of that area. So for the most part, they could have started a corrective move to the downside, and we just haven't actually finished our corrections in terms of a 5-wave drop just yet. So we could be looking at coming down lower. And as per the macro views, we obviously do have 22.23 cent being our low point all the way down here. Okay, how we get there yet is not 100% clear, but I do want to kind of just highlight a couple of key areas for us. Between 28 and 34 cent, this is actually the 786 and the 618 area. Now this Fibonacci area, I think, is an area that we should be really thinking about and considering. If I bring this up into a 4-hourly chart and we shoot on up, and we just zoom out a little bit, you can see that this is an area of consolidation. There's quite a bit of consolidation all around this area, pretty much anything lower than 39 cent down to about 22.8. So all of that area is actually of a real interest. But when we start thinking about Fibonacci based numbers, then actually we can focus that in just on this yellow box area between 28 and 34 cent. So I did want to kind of highlight that. That's an area of interest for me personally on Cardano. And as you can see here, we are still tracking this move to the downside, even if there is a slightly, one bullish sentiment of a bounce to the upside of about 72 cent. Before that, we actually pull back down. It is possible, but not likely. But we could consider that. And if we do push up that high, that will adjust those targets ever so slightly. So the 22.23 is based on not going higher than the current high that we've actually got established here at the moment. Okay, so you should keep an eye on those. But for the most part, we're looking pretty reasonable here within the data, and we've got a good kind of bounce levels, and then we've got some good targets kind of associated with those macro views. Now, when I come up into the 8-hour chart, you can kind of get a bigger macro view over what is going on. We have a 5-wave structure to the upside. Although the 5-wave move is a little bit shorter than expected, it is still possible that we can call that the 5th wave, and the pullback down. Now, in theory, all of this could be a 4th wave down, and it's quite deep, and then we have a massive 5th wave up. That is also a possible scenario, but I don't necessarily want to call it like that just yet. I'd really want to see how we form out next. I'd rather look at it maybe as a 5-3-5. So we have a zigzag pattern here on a macro scale. If I jump up into our weekly, for example, and I bring this across, right here, you have 5 waves here. This forms our A wave. Our B wave coming down, let's just hypothetically say 22.2 as the lowest point we can see, and then we have the C wave moving on up higher. Okay, and if I bring that into the daily here, you can kind of see that macro view there taking us out to possibly $39. Now, that's a 1-to-1 ratio on the A and the C wave. No guarantee that that would play out, but it is an interesting point of reference. Main focus would be the 618, the 702, the 786. So basically $5.46 through to about $13.01. So those areas are really interesting. If we get a weekly close candle above the 786, I would be very confident in thinking about that 1-to-1 ratio. But likewise, the structure to the upside here should be a 5-wave move, like what we saw from March 2020 through to the highs of what we saw in September 2021, right? So when we replicate this, we should be looking for 3 motive waves up and 2 corrective waves down in a very similar fashion. And if we start to see this, and we start to see this pattern of, really bullish structures appear, and we go past 1.618, and this would happen to be around this area, then essentially, we could be looking pretty comfortably for that $39. But it's a bit too soon to know 100% and be really confident about that. But I do think that, a dollar cost averaging or an accumulating down at these lows, for me personally, between 28 and 34 cent is a nice area. But do remember, I'm not a financial advisor. I can't give you financial advice. All I can do is give you my thoughts and opinions on the data in the charts as I see it. But that for me is where I'm focusing in on. And I do think from here, we're going to see a pretty good surge to the upside. Whether that is 22 as the low point and we actually get the reversal there, I don't know, but it's a good area to kind of be thinking about. And then we'll be looking for the 5-wave structure. And as I said, right, really focusing in on getting a weekly closed candle with the right structure above that 786. In doing so, I would be very confident in thinking about us actually hitting the 1-to-1 ratio. And in order to really get there, and I know people will start still talking about or wanting to talk about market cap really makes no difference for price discovery. There's only really two things you have to consider. One is going to be the demand, and the other is going to be the supply. Now, there's already supply shrinkage on some of the exchanges, which is why you're seeing very favorable rates on Binance, for example, to get it locked up. They haven't got enough to cover. Institutions are going to be buying up. So there's a reasonable amount of supply shrinkage occurring for Cardano. Staking is increasing. Locked value will increase as more apps and stuff launch. So I do expect to see a really significant shrinkage of the supply of ADA. And as a result, you're going to start to see the price move up a little bit. And what I mean by that is we might find that wave one is that moment for us, right? We start to see the price move up, the rest of the market's moving up. People start to think, oh, okay, Cardano's looking pretty good, I might jump into it. And the second that this thing gets some demand, you're going to see a significant surge to the upside, and that will be wave 3. This will pretty much be institutional level, by the way. They'll tend to exit out here. Wave 4 will be the corrective move where basically FOMO kicks in, and retail investors who feel that they've missed out on wave 1 and wave 3, and they jump into the market, and then they take basically ride it up into the 5th wave, and where this is where smart money would be exiting if you're in there still. So yeah, really interesting to kind of see how that would play out, but it's very, very possible that we could see a significant shrinkage on the supply, and as the price moves up, the demand and the FOMO really kicks in for Cardano. That really does take the price to those levels. So I think it's worth just kind of noting, that this is a little bit of speculation with the structures here. We have to make sure that we have the right structure going up for this pattern to play out. There is no guarantee that this pattern will play out, but I do want to kind of put it out there as a possible scenario for the future of Cardano. And this is something that I do believe is very highly likely, but that is just my opinion. It's important that you do your own research and come to your own conclusions and all of that kind of good stuff. So guys, I'm going to leave the video there. If you have found this useful and informative, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. With all that said, done and out of the way, I hope everyone has a fantastic day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.